Pac-Man Trolls here with another Magic the Gathering deck tech. I use that term a little lightly because this deck actually is able to be purchased. It's basically I'm gonna go over what the Shadows of Innistrad Vampiric Thirst red black deck is. Now, honestly, I think this is I think this is a really good intro pack from the set. I do not own all of the intro packs. But I think this probably, most likely to most people, will be the best one because it is basically a red-black vampire. So here we go. We have 12 of the basic mountain lands. So we have 12 of the basic mountain, and we have 13 of swamp. So that is your whole land base. I have not edited this deck since I got it. There's nothing here. This is literally, you can go out, purchase it for 15 bucks, and have it. And now we get into our creatures of the deck. These are actually, I don't know, it seems like a decent deck. These are pretty good cards, actually. Indulgent Aristocrat is 1 black mana for lifelink 1/1. If you tap 2, you can sacrifice a creature and put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. That's not a bad card at all. And honestly, after getting this deck, I've looked at some of these vampires and I'm like, damn, I could use them in my mono black vampire, which I posted last week. I hope you guys saw that. That was a pretty good video. Here we go, though. For our 2 drops, we have Olivia's Bloodsworn. This is a 1 black, 1 colorless. It is flying. It can't block. But if you tap a red, a target vampire gains haste until the end of the turn. And it's a 2/1 with flying. So it's a 2/1 flyer that you can just swing in and hit if they don't have any flying. Not bad. Our next 2 drops are 2 of the sanguinary, I guess. Yeah, mage. My bad. 1 red and 1 colorless. You have a prowess one. So this is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this gets a +1/+1 until end of turn. And that actually stacks up on top of each other with the +1/+1s, might I add. So it's a 1/3, and if you keep casting your non-creature spells, that thing can become bigger and bigger. It's really nice. Our next drops are 2 more of the Ravenous Bloodseekers. 1 red, 1 colorless. They are discard a card, and it gets a +2/-2 until the turn. It's a 1/3. So this thing can get some boost by discarding cards. Now, that is actually also a big thing in this deck. I've realized by one of the modifications, I guess, to the card. I'll call it that. I don't know what the actual name is, and I feel stupid for not remembering. But it's called Madness, and what it does is if you discard a card, you can pay it for less cost, or maybe even sometimes the same cost, out of exile or something. It's really nice. Now we have 2 of the Vampire Nobles. That's 1 black and 2 colorless, are 3 drops, and it's a 3/2 vampire. That's all it is. So I guess for your boost and your +1/+1 counters on stuff, it'll help later. We have more vampires, though, of course, because this whole deck is basically vampire except for 1 creature. And that's our next creature, actually. But here we go with another 3-drop. It's Blood Mad Vampire. 1 red and 2 colorless. We have 2 of these. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you put a +1/+1 on it, and there's that madness I was talking about. If you discard the card, discard it into exile. When you do, you can cast it for its madness cost or put it in your graveyard, and it's a 4/1. So instead of 3 mana, you'd pay 1 red and 1 colorless. By discarding it into exile, you could pay 1 red and 1 colorless and put it out on the field. And that's what I mean by the madness ability, and that's why some of these cards have that discard and that sacrifice, I guess, in a way, to boost. I don't know, it's a really good deck, I think. I haven't played it, but it seems like it's actually a pretty decent intro pack deck, like the Elvish deck was back in Origins. That deck was fantastic, and I made it my own, and I put up a deck tech of Black-Green Elf, and I believe that was mainly based off that intro pack, and then edited a little bit with my own touch. It's fantastic. Anyway, let's get on with the video. I have our 4 drops here. We have a Mad Prophet. The only creature that is not a vampire, might I add, is 1 red and 3 colorless. You get haste. You can tap it to discard a card and draw a card, and it's a 2/2. So that discard, again, good with the madness in the deck, which is mainly with our sorceries, which are a big part of the deck. And our other 4 drops here are the Stormkirk Mentors. They are 1 black, 3 colorless, and they enter the battlefield. You put a +1/+1 counter on another vampire you control. It's a 4/2, so that is another decent vampire you can have to boost up your vampires. It's basically what this deck's all about, kind of, is boosting up vampires in a way. And then we have our next one is Valdarin Duelist, 1 red and 3 colorless. It's a haste with 3/2, that when it enters the battlefield, the target creature cannot block this turn. So that's another really good vampire, in my opinion. And then this is the main card that's in the front of the deck when you open the deck. It is the Markov Dread Knight for 2 black and 3 colorless. You get a flyer that when you tap a black and 2, you get to discard a card to put 2 +1/+1 counters on this. And they stay on it, so it just gets keeping huge. And it's a flyer. And you discard your cards for your madness cost. Another madness card, speaking of, is the Incorrigible Youths. For 2 red and 3 colorless, you get a haste 4/3. But if you discard it into exile, you could cast it for 1 red and 2 colorless. So 2 less mana, you get this guy out if you discard it. Again, it's a fantastic deck, in my opinion. Here's another madness card. We have the Twins of Marur Estate. 1 black and 4 colorless. You get a 3/5 vampire that is 1 black and 2 colorless if you do the madness cost and do that ability. Now we have more cards that are, again, focusing on our discard and working towards our madness. We have Macrobee Waltz, that is our sorceries. 1 black, 1 colorless. It is whenever you return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand, and then you can discard a card for the madness again. Another black 2 mana drop sorcery we have is Murderous Compulsion. 1 black and 1 colorless. Destroy a target tapped creature, and it has a madness of 1 black and 1 colorless. So it's the same exact thing, but I guess if it's an instant, maybe? I don't know. But, I mean, because it says you can cast it from exile. I guess that's a way of making it an instant instead of a sorcery. I don't know. That just doesn't make sense to me why it would be the same mana cost for madness, I guess, unless it was an instant. Anyway, and then we have more working towards our discarding cards. Tormenting Voice, 1 red and 1 colorless now. I think these used to be 2 red. Correct me if I'm wrong. That could have been a different card I'm thinking of. But they have the same ability. As an additional cost, you discard a card, then draw 2 cards. And I think this was 2 red at one point, but I could be thinking of a different card. Now it's just 1 red and 1 colorless. And then we have our sorceries. 3 drops. These are very good. Alms of the Vein. 1 black and 2 colorless. You get a target opponent loses 3 life, and you gain 3 life with a nice vampire-looking art there. But it's a madness of only 1 black. So if you discard this, you can do it for 1 black mana and just get them that way. The madness is a big thing, and I love it. And for our 4-drop of sorceries is Malevolent Whisperers. 1 red and 3 colorless. You get to gain control of a target creature until the end of the turn. Untap it. It gets a +2 attack and gains haste. But it's the same thing for madness cost as well as it is for mana cost. So again, that's one of those cards that I just don't feel like would be point in discarding. This card is a rare from the Shadows over Innistrad set, and it's fantastic when I read it. Burn from Within. 1 red, and however many mana you tap, it deals however much you tap to a target creature or player. If a creature is dealt damage this way, it loses indestructible, and if it would die, exile it. So basically, this is a card that you can use against your indestructible creatures on the field. You tap however much their power is, and you go, fuck you, die. It's awesome. I love it. Because this thing, you just drop it on the field, you're like, yeah, get out of here. And then you read it, and you're like, what? And it kills them because it doesn't have it kills off indestructible, practically. There's a couple of enchantments in here that I find meh, kind of okay, I guess. But we're going over them because it's a part of the intro pack, and if you want to buy it, you can. So, 1 enchantment is Sinister Connection. This is 1 black mana. You can tap a black mana to pay a life, put the top card of your deck into your graveyard, discard a card, sacrifice this, and destroy a creature. So I guess discarding the card, again, madness cost. And then another enchantment is Senseless Rage. This isn't bad, I guess. 1 red, 1 colorless. You get to enchant a creature, and the enchanted creature gets a +2/+2, and it has the madness cost of the exact same. And then we have another enchantment, Creeping Dread. I called this Creeping Death the other day because I was thinking of Metallica. If you guys are Metallica fans, you understand. But anyway, 1 black, 3 colorless, and at the beginning of your upkeep, each player discards a card. Each opponent who discarded a card that shares a card type with the card you discarded loses 3 life, and you reveal discarded cards simultaneously. So this is another card that you would discard to get your madness cost going, and it would work with that, and it would also work on hitting the players with their life. The last 2 cards in the deck are our instants, and that is the Fiery Tempers. 2 red, 1 colorless. You get to deal 3 damage to a creature or a player, but a madness cost of 1 red. So, again, decent card for the madness thing. That is the entire intro pack. All it does is, it's literally all for the, all about basically getting your madness going and your vampires kind of boosted. So you have 2 ways of winning. You can win by your madness stuff to burn or enchant your creatures, all that power. It's really a strategic deck. You really got to play some strategy with this deck. So I feel like this deck will be a fun intro pack to play when I get to play it. And when I do play it, I will let you guys know, I guess, in a video maybe, or in the description below of this video later, how I think of it, and what I think of it, and how it runs. So if you guys want to go buy this deck, it is literally $15. It's called the Shadows over Innistrad Vampiric Thirst Intro Pack. It is a red-black vampire deck with discarding abilities and stuff on yourself. But it's still a very good setup, it looks like. It looks like it's going to be another fun intro pack that I'm going to like the Elf deck of Origins. I don't remember what that one's called to save my life, but I kept that deck because it's so fun to play, and I edited it myself to be a Elvish Golgari Elves deck. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is a little something different. I haven't edited this deck since I bought it. I'm just showing you guys what it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching the quote-unquote deck tech or unboxing. I didn't really unbox anything, but the deck tech of Shadows over Innistrad's Vampiric Thirst. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I'm just glad you guys came by and watched. And I'm ready for the Blues game tonight because I'm a big Blues fan. Blackhawks fans, sorry. But I'm just a Blues fan. Alright, but yeah, so thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.